Go ahead.
Call to order. You good? Can I turn it off?
Yep, go ahead. Where's Yeah.
It's like fingers, it's long fingers. Drill a hole in the table.
Couple minutes, you're about to do it now.
Hello.
I turned it on, so it's up to you.
Yeah.
Alright, let's do the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for all for coming. First business, signature folder. So we have one abatement on 27 Oak Avenue. The reason for the abatement is correcting bedrooms, a bunch of other stuff, deck sketch and everything else. So the abatement's for $599.94. So I'll make a motion for the 2024 abatement request on map 105 lot 00006. For the amount of $599.94.
I'll second.
Any discussions? All in favor?
Alright,
Aye.
Aye.
So between the clerk, we don't do anything.
That was just a second
Yeah.
for DMV.
Also with the treasurer.
I just mentioned what you signed, that way they know.
Yeah, from the treasurer's delegation of financial functions, we have a description of what his responsibilities are as far as treasurer, finance administrator, combination, delegation of deposit authority and all that stuff. So Bill Pikett is our treasurer and Andrea Hood is our town clerk, tax collector. So basically we all sign this. Pretty much agree to it.
can you hear him okay?
Need that
You
to be
guys look
louder?
confused.
Huh? Yeah.
Do I need to talk louder?
Yeah, you're talking in that.
Alright, so it's basically all the paperwork for the financial functions as far as the treasurer and tax collector and town clerk, Andrea and Bill Pikett. So they signed the process, it's all process, duties of what they have to perform.
And also just to add, this is a form that is signed annually, whether there's changes or not.
Gives them delegation to do their duties through the banks, through the DMV and things like that.
Alright. Just wearing a signature with the minutes. I'm gonna make a motion to approve the minutes dated March 18, 2025.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
alright,
That's done.
that'd be a really big non-public. Come on in.
There's a lot of people here.
Make a motion to approve the manifest dated March 27, 2025 in the amount of $46,791.13.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Alright,
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to approve the manifest dated in the amount of $33,362.35.
second,
All in favor?
alright,
Aye.
Aye.
On a mail folder, we received a wetlands permit application.
92 Remick Road.
There we go. So, I guess I just put it up a wall, so that's all with the environmental services and everything else, and that was it. Departments, let's see here. Do that now. Department reports, police department chief.
Mr. Chairman, sorry, could I move a portion of my business to prior to this real quick?
Do it again?
Move a portion of my business prior to this real quick?
Yeah.
Okay. For the who don't see it, or everybody sees the dapper young man dressed up in the front row here. Friday night we ran basically a hiring process. We did oral boards, interviews, and PT tests for the open grant funded position that we got for the new police officer. At the end of the process, I extended a conditional officer to Hunter Daggett, who's seated right here, and I was looking for the board to make a motion to accept my conditional offer for Mr. Daggett so we can continue with a background process on him.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Any discussion?
Oh, sorry, discussion, yes. Discussion. Where you from, sir?
Great.
Yep.
It was right down the street.
Obviously, all of our funding and stuff like that is in place and everything, just if there are any questions,
Yep.
you know, if anybody.
What do you mean by conditional? I'm just not familiar with it in context.
So I guess I would say it's standard for us. We do a conditional offer of hire prior to any sort of a background investigation, just basically opening them up for be like, this is what we're gonna be looking into, you know, we're gonna be looking at basically your entire life to then make sure that you're suitable for this job before the final appointment to the board. So that way, you know, at the end of it, we know that they're a suitable fit for what we're looking for.
Thank you.
One question, what was your time for running a mile?
It was just under 11 minutes.
It was a mile and a half.
Mile and a half.
Not a mile, yeah, mile and a half.
Yeah, so you might have seen him out there hammering down 25.
Would you have your dog after him?
No. Rather made him run a little bit faster.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
All set?
No.
We just gotta vote.
Make a motion to vote?
Okay, aye.
Aye.
Seems aye.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
You can stick around, bud, if you want. I just gotta go through some stuff. Alright, sorry. So on monthly stats, I'll start with the police department ones. You guys have two in front of you. For March, we handled 278 calls for service, 3 arrests, 38 motor vehicle stops, 6 motor vehicle accidents, and the canine was requested out one time for a track, which was a successful track. We requested mutual aid to the town of Tuftonboro for a female that had fled a residence on foot after violating a protection order. And within 5 minutes from the time that Jessie was taken out of the car, we were at her feet in the woods. So it was a very successful track, especially where we're just getting back into having no snow, so the dog can track now. So that was really nice to see. Any questions on that portion? The second one you have in front of you, which we talked about previously, is doing the quarterly reports for the animal control officer. So through January, February, and March, the animal control officers handled a total of 18 calls. 16 are domestic animal related, 1 was livestock related, and then 1 was the rabies specimen transport to Concord. And for those who aren't familiar with that is there's any animal, usually domestic, that or it could be a wild animal as well, that believed a baby possibly had rabies, it's taken to Concord by, it used to be the sheriff's office, which is now fallen on the responsibility of the local departments, and Tucker's agreed to do that for us. So anytime there's a specimen that needs to go to the state lab in Concord, the veterinary office gets a hold of Tucker, he goes down, picks the specimen up, and drives it to Concord for us. And that's all I have until the rest of the business, unless you want me to do that now.
Yeah, let's
Okay,
Jump
final
right into
thing,
it.
I promise. So what you have in front of you is a budgetary quote from Axon, which is who services our, or who provides us our tasers. Our current tasers we have right now are outdated. Axon's starting to no longer support them. It's hard to find batteries and cartridges for them now. They're a necessary piece of our equipment because they're used as a de-escalation tool that we can use from a distance. So the quote you have in front of you is for an updated taser system, which is more, I would say, advanced than the ones we have. It can be equipped with 2 cartridges, which can actually be different lengths. So you can have one that's a closer distance cartridge, and then one that's a further distance away. So they call those standoff cartridges. The reason that we need to propose this quote, like I said, is these ones that we have now are getting towards the end of their life. Mine's not working like it should.
I don't believe you.
Test it.
So, we actually have 4 units right now, and 2 of which, actually one of them's completely out of service, it doesn't even turn on. Our other one, the battery's almost dead, and then we had 2 that are full service life. So we had on our Zoom meeting with the rep from Axon, and we got this quote. If you turn your attention to the last page of the quote, it's a 5-year program, if we agree to do it. For right now, the total is $14,428, but that's over 5 years. What they don't put in there is if we agree.
That's for 3.
That's for three units. What they don't put in there is if we enter into this agreement with them, they're willing to buy back all of our old equipment, which is all 4 of these old units, and they offered us $600 for them. So that'll be credited to the overall total of the account. Another thing that they don't put in there, but they offer to with the bundle like we did to get all of our cartridges, all of our training tools, all that stuff, which actually helps lower the cost, is at the signing of the contract, it's only a 1% payment due at the signing of the contract, the remainder due at the end of the fiscal year. So if we agree to this, the first year when we sign the contract would only be $150, and then the remainder of whatever that balance is after we get our credit from our other tasers will be due at the end of the year. I plan to take it out of my equipment line for this year, at the end of the year. Just, save some money in my budget towards the end of the fiscal year. And then moving forward into next year, budget for it as far as knowing that's one piece of equipment that's gonna have to come out of the equipment line.
We have an ETF for that too, right?
We do.
Yeah, we do.
It's the police safety gear and equipment. I was hoping to use my operating budget, if you're willing to let me use the ETF, I would be more than open to that as well.
So
1,000.
it's, just for simplicity, obviously there's the credit of the 600, 1% the first year, but this is budgetary years
Roughly, it's $2,800 a year, yes.
over 5 years.
Over 5
So we're going to
years.
2030, so $3,000 a year over 5 years.
Correct.
That's without interest, right?
It's not like an actual lease. It's just broken down like a lease, so there's no interest. This is what the payment would be every year.
Okay, so there's no interest, so it wouldn't make a difference if we paid.
This
it all.
isn't gonna change from the time we sign the contract. That number will stay the same.
So theoretically, from a budgetary standpoint, without tapping into the ETF in case we had to replace a major item, we could pull this out of your operating budget.
Correct, which was my plan anyway.
Which would be,
That's why I was planning on doing that for this year, and then next year moving forward, using my operating budget and planning on that $2,800 for the next 4 years, every year in the budget.
because it would actually only be probably closer to $2,000.
I would have a final number once we sign the contract, but I'll be able to plan on that through the operating budget over the next few years. So if I could get a motion to enter into this agreement with Axon for 3 new Taser 7s.
Do we wanna make a motion now, or do we wanna have a contract in front of us, so we can motion before we sign the contract? Do you have the contract with you?
I don't, this is just basically a budgetary quote for me to propose for if it's approved, I can get everything final from Axon. So that way we can get it sent over.
Do you see where I'm going with that?
I see where it's going. Can you get a contract?
I can.
Well, it's specifying,
Yeah, I
exactly
just,
what.
we'll have to be willing to let them know that it's, we're hoping to move forward with it.
Yeah, we'll open, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. I will get that. Table it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because if it's year by year, we need to know
Right.
what we're voting on, the amount, and not just open-ended, you know what I mean?
Yeah, really the only difference would be that minus 600 off the 14,428. That's the only thing that's gonna change. So it'd be 13,800,
Yeah, the contract will specify everything.
yeah.
So just have them break down the price for every year.
Mhm.
And also minus what you're gonna send in the old tasers and all that stuff.
Right. I don't think that would reflect on the contract until I guess the invoice of the 14,000 until they have them in their hands. and then he said they would credit it. So that would be an after the fact type
As long
of
as
thing.
you can put it in the contract, right?
Yeah, I can ask him if that's something that they'd be willing to do.
Yeah. Okay, great. That's it?
That's it.
Okay, so move forward.
Yeah, I'll get it for
I'm gonna,
the 15th.
I'm gonna jump up with Andrea because I know your office is open.
Oh, well, I was just hanging out because I was,
In case somebody shows up.
You want me to do that now?
Yes, please.
All right. Well, I did print 4 of these off, so just so you can read that there is an RSA and this. So I don't know what you know, but I went to that New Hampshire, the new tax collectors workshop. So one of the things that was mentioned, from their attorney, and I can't remember his name, but it was an attorney that was there. We need to have adopted or approved at a town meeting, to accept prepayments for taxes. There's the RSA on it. I don't know if anyone knows if we've done that. I do know of one resident for sure that comes in frequently and does do a prepayment on his taxes.
really?
But we're not supposed to take a prepayment without having that been approved by the town.
Is this at a town meeting or the select board?
I believe it's from
It
a
says
town
town
meeting,
It says
it's
town
gonna be
meeting.
voted on.
So we'd have to wait until next.
Do you remember I asked you to write something down that's DRA?
DRA permit file,
Yeah,
I can ask Michelle Clark, see if,
so the DRA permit file is what, they won't give that to you voluntarily. DRA has this library, if you will, for lack of a better term, that's every single town. When a town requests the DRA file, it's the history of every town at their town meeting and what year they adopted certain articles, warrants, provisions, and things like that.
So hopefully we find that in there.
So if we get that, we might find out if we've done this.
Okay.
That's why I'm bringing it up now, because
Okay.
nobody knows. I don't remember if,
Okay,
you know,
yeah, and I didn't know, if you would or if anyone would, or, and then, so then my other question would be where I do have a resident that comes in to do a prepayment. I just wanna know how I should proceed going forward with that, as far as.
When does it come in, just around tax time or what?
No, it hasn't been as frequent, but it used to be just be random, like, a couple $100 a month here or there. It's never consistent, but
Can, you'll get the information from DRA?
I'm emailing DRA right now as we speak.
So I would say within a week, you
take a prepayment until we know that we
Right.
can.
I would hope put a hold.
So just, just in case you hear any backlash from that.
So we're in process trying to rectify the situation.
Yeah, okay,
And that's how the taxpayer.
in the meantime, if this individual has, available funds he wants to get rid of, I'm sure that he can, that's
Yeah, right.
current, but no.
yeah. So that was it, that's all I have. But,
Okay, I appreciate you bringing that.
Yeah,
So there were 2 days, right?
yeah.
And was it beneficial?
Yeah, it definitely was, but my eyes were open to a few things that we just have to make sure we're doing our part here, but it was good, yeah,
Okay. Awesome,
thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Who would have thought you needed to get a prepayment?
Yeah.
You would think.
JT, fire chief contract.
So I've given you all a draft contract and I have a clean version here if you would like to sign it tonight.
We had this at the we had the contract last meeting, and you altered only number 2 and number 9.
Correct.
Yeah, I read it, I didn't see a problem with it. You? Nope. I'll make a motion to approve The agreement between the town of Effingham and, John Thomas Harmon as fire chief. The date's gonna be March 30th, 2025 to January 1st, 2030. Almost 5 years.
I'll go ahead, sorry.
I'll second.
Discussions.
I don't have any.
I don't have any.
Next one. All in favor?
Same as I.
Whizbag aye.
Christine, aye. And you give me the copy?
And-
Mine says draft, so I'm not signing this
No,
one.
don't sign it.
Wow, wait a minute. This one.
Put a date here. So JT, you wanna sign that and then, give it, go to you,
Thank you.
okay? Selectmen's report, who wants to go first?
Mine's pretty short. It was kind of quiet. The only thing I really did was attend a planning board meeting. And did some prep work for what's coming up to the zoning board tomorrow night with this tower, the cell tower, and drove around town to see if I could see the balloon. Very disappointed I did not see it. So we shall see. That was basically what I was doing.
Awesome. Had a couple of meetings
Oh, yeah, well,
in process.
that goes without saying.
Me, it's always about roads, right? So, follow up on a few complaints, addressing them, putting Band-Aids on Pine River Road. Some people may have seen we put gravel, on Pine River Road. That was the thought process, it's gonna be ground sooner than later anyway. Instead of it takes about $1,600 to get a drop of coal patch from, Burke Quarry, and it would take about the entire drop, the entire load to fill the holes that were there, so we put gravel down and spread it with the grader. Kevin spread it with the grader. We're gonna need gravel on that road anyway, so I have a meeting scheduled with the contractors, for 11 o'clock, 11 AM on the 10th, Thursday the 10th. A gentleman, Bruce Davis from Allstate Materials was supposed to come today. Unfortunately, he had to change plans last minute. We're supposed to have a work session today just to go over a PowerPoint presentation, the same one I have on extending the life and maintaining our asphalt and surfaces that to keep them for longevity and more inexpensive maintenance as opposed to redoing the whole roads. So that is rescheduled for the 15th at 3 o'clock before our next selectmen's meeting, scheduled selectmen's meeting.
That's what I'll say.
Correct. Bruce Davis.
And the one on the 10th is what?
11 AM. That's with GMI and Dana, the project manager and foreman for Dawson Excavating.
Right. Got it.
More snow coming to, the snow blower. We have to
Yep.
find out about the warranty on the snow blower. If it's warranted or not.
Yeah, I talked to Brad about it, we're working on it. I would assume it's warranty, 1
Yeah,
year.
he has the paperwork, so we just need to reach out to MB.
Yep, I asked when, what's his name that comes into that lives here and that works in MB? The contact,
Yeah, it was a Molly Furbick Road. I know.
you know what I'm
I know
talking
my-
about.
Yeah.
So Brad was gonna talk to him and
God, isn't that awful?
Wow.
and basically, once we have that information. if I
Gary
have-
Dean, oh boy.
And, I was gonna bring it up to, MB.
Yeah, so you're gonna bring it? Okay, cause I told Brad one of us would, so said we'd have to just talk about it tonight, so.
Yeah, I get transfer station, so.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
There was something else about the transfer station, wasn't there?
This step,
That's fixed.
I know.
I was thinking of something else. Sorry. Also, the, moving forward, we kind of talked about that, touched upon that a little bit, getting back to the, to-do list and, things we need to work on, so collectively amongst the four of us, 5, 6 of us, 7 of us, everybody here, just as reminders, so we stay on top of the task list and checking off the boxes, and that way we're not just putting it all on a Caitlin saying, you know, we have to remember to do this, we have to remember to do that. As long as we have those lists and we keep them on our desk. I know I always did mine, and I'd keep a copy in my case here. That way we, you know, check them off and we're not, stuff isn't falling through the cracks. Obviously, it's already April. We still have to get the flooring taken care of here, and get the RFPs out for that, the status of the RFPs in the fire station, the plumber. What do we wanna do about the plumbing? Do we wanna get him the water samples and get him in here?
we have water samples.
Yeah, we have the water samples, we need to get them to him so that he can
Get
make
back
a
in.
recommendation
Yeah.
on whether or not we need filtration or not.
Right, and you did submit 2 more quotes for flooring, right?
Yes, I've gotten a total of 2.
And third one you haven't,
Third one, I have to reach out to JJ's, which is another, I think you had given me that option. I have not gotten to reach out to them at this time, but I'm,
so on the task list, can we set up a time? I don't know, I know initially I set it up last year, starting, I mean, can we set up a time and, develop that task list and start
of course.
putting stuff, and then we get you guys into it?
Right,
And,
so set up a work session for it?
yeah, if you wanna do that, we can do that also, the 3 of us, get everybody in there.
Sure.
And I hate to put it all on keeping track of it, but I mean, Heidi, could she help you on that?
Of course.
You know,
Well, if we set up a work session that's designated time, between now and that work session, we collectively all can
put on,
write, you know, things down, and then we'll create that task like at the work session, and then move forward from there.
yeah, put it all in Excel, I mean, was it Excel you're using?
That's what I was using,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
In the meantime, do you want me to, am I okay with moving forward with the plumber, getting him in here and
Yes.
updating the water heaters and
Get a quote.
moving forward with that? Get a
Yeah.
quote? Okay, I'll take care of that. And I'm also gonna put a latch, a lock on the back door,
Yeah, I saw the
Good
picture open.
idea,
remedy,
yeah.
you know, remedy that issue that, not being secured.
Is there an issue from a fire code if we have a lock on that door?
I don't believe so, as long as you can, in one action, unlock it. I think you're fine. You're talking about the furnace room door, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So in other words, just
one
like
action
a-
unlock, you're good. Like if it's a slide lock or something like that, you'd be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were gonna go with a little paddle lock.
No, no.
Alright, good.
That's it.
Alright,
Snow tomorrow night, again, into Thursday. Obviously, it's springtime, ground soft. Please be patient with us, I know we got a complaint about Pine River Road that the gravel that we put in there has got holes back in it again. Of course it does, I mean, it's soft, they had to plow. And there's, the second you get any kind of depression, whether it's cold patch or gravel especially, and people continue to pound through that same spot, it just makes that hole much larger. The dirt roads are very soft, and I think that they did a great job the other day, opening up the roads. We do have to look at the end of Libby Road, the Old Town Road end, to see and verify exactly where the class 6 portion starts.
I know exactly where it is, right at the end of Linda's.
No, Old Pound Road end.
Oh, I thought you said Libby, sorry.
I did say Libby,
Libby and Old Pound,
Oh, the old pound side,
yeah.
okay,
because, I've gotten complaints that 100 feet is not being plowed, 200 feet, that's town responsibility. So I just wanna verify that, before I leave tonight, I'm gonna try to look at the maps too and see if I can identify anything, but, we just need to get that rectified.
Yeah, because on the description for class 6 roads, it's all, Libby's all the way up to Old Pound Road, wherever Old Pound stops. That's what it says for the descriptions for class 6 road.
Yeah, I just gotta look at that, so, I mean, apparently historically, over the years, that's always been, again, it's just, I think it's 100 feet, thereabouts, maybe less, just up around the corner.
To that first
That was
driveway,
always been maintained.
to that first
And-
driveway.
Yeah. So,
Cool. Anything else?
nope,
Okay, good. Basically, I had like Chris said, I repaired another step-up stand. The leg was broken right off, so I threw a new one in there. So then re-welded that up, so that's done. Parking lot, I know we talked about, you know, what do you call it, the equipment that picks up the sand,
sweepers.
sweepers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at the library, it's like, I think we probably should consider probably cleaning that up,
Okay,
yeah. You're there all the time.
That's a mess, that's horrible going in there. What happened to the mirror too? There was a mirror outside, up on a pole, so when you were leaving the library, you could see if someone's coming up that little hill.
I saw it inside the library the other day.
Oh,
It's in the
blue-
library.
It's in the lot, but that doesn't help me, Jim. When I'm pulling out.
what took it
I
off?
want you to see when you go down the aisle, so you don't bump somebody with a.
Ah, that's it,
yeah, I'm assuming that the wind took it off and
and
Winston
someone just
probably
put it
carried
in
across
there,
the street,
okay.
but I looked at the library the other day, and I mean, obviously, there's areas that we need to,
Oh,
the
the-
sweep would have to
Oh,
stay away
yeah,
from, but,
it is.
Right,
it
I
is
mean,
Yeah, the
horrible.
potholes,
so, we haven't scheduled it yet, because it continues to
it's
snow,
hot.
so,
Well, the weather, mhm.
so we had transfer station, fire station parking lots, Snow Road, library, this office. The,
fire station,
Don't bother, we'll take care of it.
okay, both of them?
We already started, yeah.
Hold them, okay. Good. Saves us money.
Full patch on the other hand.
Yes, we need to add station number 1 and 2.
Number 2's got the big hole right at the end, that's the biggest issue, but number 1, it's got that boulder that's popped up through and,
I think it's rugged.
yeah, it's enveloping the parking lot, so I think
Call
that's gonna be
speed.
more than coal patch.
speed bump.
I mean, the transfer station, you know, I talked to Brad about it the other day, all around the containers,
Mhm.
they sweep away from
Right.
everything so they can, it's really clean now anyway. So that's kind of a moot point, but as far as the here,
Right.
do we wanna get our spring cleanup guy to start doing out here before the sweepers get here? And who do we wanna get to sweep away from the ramps and things at the library before the sweepers come? If we're gonna do the library, which I agree we should do.
I would utilize Brad
Okay.
from that standpoint, I mean, he does the shoveling and all that with the snow, so.
It doesn't Todd do the mowing and stuff at the
Right, Todd
library?
does mowing,
'Cause
but you're just sweeping away from the
Yeah.
steps.
So, Brad, okay. Do you
Yeah.
wanna,
I'll talk to him.
and well, obviously, we don't have it scheduled yet, but when we get scheduled, like I told him that we'll try to schedule it for a day that the transfer station is closed.
Oh, yeah, definitely,
So,
yeah, I will, I'll talk to him.
so yeah, when we get that scheduled, we can sweep both of those, get them ready.
Bringing up that subject with the person that, what's his name, does all,
Todd Mason,
Tom Mason. Do we need to go out for an RFP for that?
it's by the hour, so.
Okay,
I wouldn't see anything.
okay. Just question it.
Yeah.
Right,
I mean, last year we didn't exceed 15,000, I don't believe, 7,000.
I wanna say, if I remember correctly, it was 7,887 or something.
yeah, that's all the
along those
properties
lines.
with Woodland Cemetery and
That's-
everything,
That was for a
Yeah.
whole season of all properties.
and that's all clean up in the fall and everything else, leaves.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last item is, we finally, I think we got our, from the town meeting, the budget finally. And you still gotta go DRA to get Michelle to approve it. Or the final number. What was
Yeah, so
approved at,
what I have to do now, and I'll cross this off mine, cause that was part of my thing.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so yeah, what I have to do is after every town meeting, I have to go through and enter into the Department of Revenue's information of what was voted on, what was approved, what was denied, any amendments, if any amendments failed. So that's my next step for this week, is I have to get that all in there.
And they'll set the tax rate and increase.
Tax rate doesn't get set till
That's
November.
set in the fall.
Right,
This
but,
starts the process of getting that all set, correct? But it won't actually be set until,
should I say it?
No,
Okay.
it's
Aye.
not carved in stone yet, so
No,
Yeah,
we
might as
don't
well
need
wait.
to.
right. Oh, agree, once we have the report from DRA.
yeah, we won't have any tax rate information for sure until, the preliminary tax rate usually comes beginning of November. I'll say end of October, beginning of November, depending on the Department of Revenue's, flow, but other than that, I'll get the prelim, we'll look into anything there, provide it to you guys, and then we get the set tax rate afterwards.
Okay. Go ahead and your reports.
Oh, my turn now?
What did
Okay.
you just bring up?
Right, she's gonna be doing this, right?
Oh,
I can discuss that, yeah.
Yeah, please.
Hold on,
Got one right.
I'll put that to my end real fast. So one thing, we need to discuss is we do have that assessing clerk position open. We have had one candidate, so I need to set up times with you guys for, us to do interviews for the position. Any certain time, date works better.
You wanna do it this week?
Preferably, I'd like to do it, we'll say beginning of next week. That way, it gives time to make sure if anyone else tends to apply, that we give them that time. So, say, especially with the snow and stuff, that way you can attend, cause I don't know how bad it will be, but say like Monday or Tuesday,
Let's do
11, or,
Monday 11?
and
On the
can we
7th.
schedule for the pre-discussed work session to go over the
Okay.
to-do list that same day, same time?
Yeah,
so, did we decide Monday or?
Monday.
Sorry.
Monday's fine, I think.
Yeah, I'm good.
yeah, that's fine. And that's at 11?
Or can we do this, just cause I realized, can we do the 8th?
The what?
The manifest would be prepared anyway, it'd probably be a best
yeah,
bet to do
session.
that, and, Monday I'll be preparing the manifest too, so that way I can all do Tuesday.
Okay, 11?
Yeah.
Tuesday.
And then
We
Tuesday
have,
is budget, right?
Budget at 6, right?
Yeah,
Correct.
I was gonna say that.
Be a busy day.
Alright, so we'll do that, and I'll reach out and get that set up for that. Oh, I have it right there, never mind. So, what you guys have in front of you is a draft for a purchasing policy.
I think
There's only one, I'm sorry, I only printed one, I apologize. But what that is just a draft for you guys to review, it pretty much has, the basics compared to, New Hampshire Municipal Association. What is pretty much required on a purchasing policy, this is to set, procedures of what will happen, so. For, 0 to 1,000, the, departments had discretion in being within their reasonable budgetary budget. 1,000 to 5,000 is approval of Board of Selectmen, with a sign approval is one proposed option. 5,000 to $14,999.99. That one there is pretty much to obtain 3 quotes. Get 3 prices for 3 different things to make sure that it's going for your taxpayer money, to make sure that you're looking at every detail possible, especially with the budget. And then 15,000 up, you have to follow procurement policy with RFPs and all of that. So this just pretty much explains, what the procedures would be in regards to any type of purchases, that are made by department heads, department boards,
Thank you.
and, equipment. Other than that, there's some standard things in there, there's, one is, required by law, which is RSA 95:1, which is just a conflict of interest, which is pretty much, states, no one on the board can sell property and all of this in excess of $200. And then, other than that, it just describes some different payment types and how that goes, so check, electric fund transfers and credit cards.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt, we need to have a new policy that Leo cannot run the coffee machine.
Double-sided.
I'm like, boy, that thing's pretty thin.
What's wrong with it too?
Now, one thing is this is a draft, there are a few things, NHMA does state too on their, list of what should be included in a purchasing policy is, exceptions or emergency purchases.
Right.
While typing, I couldn't think of anything that comes to my mind for emergency purposes, but what I did state in there is the discretion of the Board of Selectmen or their designee. Your thoughts on that would be greatly helpful if you want something stated differently. Regarding the whole purchasing policy, any input is wanted, so. But this is just a draft version to get this going, get it moving, and then make the additions for approval.
Thank you, Leo.
You can save the statement
Yeah, save the
online, that's fine, thanks.
Tough crowd. Alright, so you wanna sit down and review this and get back to it for the next meeting?
That would be my goal. I would like, for you guys to have the review. I wanted to have it there tonight, so you can look into it, see if there's things you want added, if there's things you want differently. I just came up with a few different amount types, so if you wanna change the amount types that are listed on the, first page, kind of, I think it's section 2.
Right.
For authority, that just, I just wanted to do certain different numbers. If you wanna change it, that's up to you.
Can we probably address that at the meeting next week?
Yeah, why not?
We can, but I don't think we should
You
vote to
can't,
adopt
you
it.
can't approve.
No, we're
You
not
can't-
adopting, but
we can-
changes.
We can discuss changes,
Yeah,
you
that's what I
can't
was
vote
thinking.
to approve, we can do that April 15th.
That's what I'm looking at.
Okay, yep,
So now we're prepared for the 15th.
yep. Do you have any questions on that before I
No.
complete my
Nope.
report?
Proceed.
Okay. Does anyone else have questions before I complete my report? I just wanna make sure, okay. I've gotten a recent call, but I know I've had calls in the past, looking at land auctions. I know since I've been here, there hasn't been one, I don't know if there's any plan of ever having one, but I wanna at least have an answer to provide to anyone that does call for land auctions.
So,
Go ahead, please.
so the last time that we discussed that, so we looked at the list of town-owned property
Mhm.
and verified, cause obviously you have to verify that we are well within our timeline to do that.
Correct.
There wasn't really land that was suitable for,
Right now, for that type of property, we have none at this time. So I didn't know if they were talking generally, if Effingham had any land they were looking to get rid of either. So that's why I wanted to bring this up, to make sure I have my, correct answers and I'm not just sitting there going, I have no
So
idea.
last year we had a list of all the,
They were coming up.
that was, the town owned.
correct. Reviewed that list to see if there was any land that we
Addition.
could dispose of in an auction to put back on the tax rolls and that sort of thing, and there was
And-
just not.
Last I knew, we didn't have any deeded.
We haven't
income.
taken any land.
There was
last-
one that was listed, but there was an issue with getting that deeded back, so, which,
So we haven't added.
we do not have any deeded properties at this time.
And usually when people call about that, it's just for that reason, so they can turn over property. I
Right.
mean, there are investors, there are real estate agents that call the municipalities to say, looking
Yeah.
for an updated list on property, whatever, and,
Yeah, I just wasn't
Something,
sure if there was any procedure in place for land auctions or anything like that, so I wanted to talk about that tonight, so I was, sure, but,
I mean, I don't think it would hurt to review to go over that list again of town-owned property, because there's one piece of property that's been identified through when we talked about putting the gate up at the salt shed.
Right, the 2 acres. or whatever.
Yeah, there's a 3 acre plus parcel there that wasn't identified on our first list, so.
Yeah, and that could be added to our to-do list when we discuss that on the work session to review that and
Can you have the tax collector provide us, or town clerk provide us,
town-owned
lists
property.
of all the town deeded property, I guess you call it, that are,
Well, there'd be town-owned property and then there's the deeded, but
that's
deeded
what I'm
has-
talking about, deeded. Yeah.
And last is, talking about the to-do list, it just brought up one thing. I know when Lenny was still on board, there was discussions about I'm gonna say it wrong, but, preambulation of town lines, and I know that has not been done. So that's one thing I just want to bring up, cause I know there was a certain portion.
Or the selectman has to walk the town lines.
So I just wanted to bring that up as well, because it made me think of it. Other than that.
We'll get your new recruit, you can do that, you know?
He would.
But that was, that's the,
I know the last time that the state brought it up, the portion that was in question, because I know when Lawrence was on the board, Lawrence did Wakefield side, I believe, and,
Just the Wakefield.
and the portion that was left open and undone goes through the Heath bog. So there's nobody that can walk that, not unless you,
Especially now.
Bring your waiters.
once upon a time were pinned to a cross, then you might be able to, but that's about the only person. Some really big waders to go through that swamp, but
I just thought about it, so I just.
but they
wanted to bring it
haven't,
up.
nobody's reached out to you to, okay.
Nope, that was just me thinking about it.
Alright. So just in case one of us decides we wanna take a walk, we can get that, knock that out of the way. So, yeah.
Which property line you're looking at, I mean, which, district, or which line do we have to do it all, or?
The entire thing has to be annually, whatever, I'm not sure, it's every 10 years or something like that.
7 years.
7
years?
Yeah. It's supposed to be done, the entire thing.
Wow.
See what you signed up for?
We're not going through the bog though, just marsh, swamp.
Is there, can you find out when's the last time it was completed? And, yeah, just find out when the last time it was completed, start with that.
It's probably safe to say we're due, I would imagine, so.
Probably.
I would say so, too.
It's been mentioned quite a few times.
Yeah, and I know it was on the radar in Ospey last year too, so. I'm assuming they were all, typically done at the same time, so, portions of them, so.
Okay. Hey,
I'm all good.
you're good? Awesome. Business, Friends of the Library. So we have, conduct a raffle, go ahead.
Yeah, so this will be, I think, our third, fourth
What,
annual.
say your name, so,
Yeah.
you don't have to stand up.
Katie McCarthy, I'm with the Friends of the Library, and we request permission to do a raffle at the library. We raffle off a wheelbarrow, garden supplies, and the reason that we need to get your permission is because we're selling tickets over like a 6-week period. So we'll start selling them around April 15th, and we'll have the drawing on May 24th. And so this is the fourth year, I think,
Fourth year.
we've done it, and then the funds will go to the library.
Make a motion for the Friends of the Library to permission to conduct a raffle on April 16th through May 24th.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
you got it.
Thank you.
You want it back on?
No, I moved it up. That way he didn't have to sit here through the whole thing.
Okay, next discussion, I should say. Motor vehicle registration, mail-in fee. So now, our basic policy right now is, when you receive your registration renewal in the mail, there's $1 charge to that. And you can opt out to cancel that. You just gotta contact the town clerk and have them take it off the list, so you won't get your renewal, but you're on your own then. So, I guess the point is, right now, is we have a taxpayer that's requesting his $6 back, because he didn't request the renewals.
Oh. So he wasn't renewing his,
No, he renews his vehicles and everything else, but I don't know, he just happened, basically, this first time, and I guess he got a renewal, and then there was 6 different vehicles, whatever, and he wants his $6 back.
okay,
So, do we pay, or do we give him the $6 back, or?
Well, obviously the question came up is, this is something that's on your registration unless you've already opted out. It's something that's on your registration.
Right, you can opt out.
It says right on it, the $1, it's written right on the registration. So it was brought up while he was here registering his vehicles. So it's kind of moot, so, the reminders did go out. There's costs associated with the
Mailing.
reminders going out.
yeah.
Yes, the mailing and everything else.
So from moving forward, if he or she opted or requested to be opted out and
They have done that.
then they get charged, then I would say yes, obviously we refund it, but
But if they didn't opt out, no.
They have opt out. No, they have, moving forward, they have.
Moving forward,
Right.
right, but in the past they hadn't,
Right.
so I think you'd be setting a major
Okay,
problem
so-
if you did it,
So denied.
denied.
Do we need a motion? No. No.
I
Okay,
don't think so.
good. So you wanna inform Andrea? Do we have any announcements? No announcements. Public comments.
Oh boy, if I got, no. Let me know if this isn't convenient, it's just because I have to be here.
Jim Pittman?
Jim Pittman, town moderator, this is my persona at the moment. A number of you know that we've been having ongoing discussions about getting a vote tabulating machine for our elections. And it particularly became a topic of discussion because the last year with 4 elections and a huge turnout in the November election, it really was a huge burden on the people who are working at the polls. And we have a great group of people who seem to come to every election and help work there. But, you know, they're kind of falling by the wayside a little bit, and we're finding difficulty getting other people to step in. And we just need a more efficient way of conducting it, so that's my overview on it. I seem to hear agreement with everyone concerned. We have money set aside, and I said that after the town election was done, I would spearhead a movement to investigate which system we should have and bring in the vendors, all that sort of thing. So in that spirit, I approached our otherwise known as fire chief, but also IT guy, and told him, you know, I'd like to have a town email so that I can conduct all my business through that. And I just wanted to have you guys give him permission to do that, if you would.
Yeah.
And then I can use that, and I will issue an initial outline of what I expect to do on this project going forward. So we'll be good by the time town meeting comes around next year, and we can get home before midnight. Really nice. And 2026 is another election year, so we could have a repeat of
Yeah, 3 elections minimum.
2024.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's just my little request.
So on that topic, I think that we're all on the same page of, would you propose bringing in the vendors of these machines to do
Yes.
you still think we should do that, or we're pretty confident on
One
the
selection.
one particular vendor?
Well, we can go either way. I think you're aware that the Friday before our town election, I was in Concord and got to talk to a lot of moderators from other towns who have purchased these systems recently. So there's one of the 2 approved systems by the state, there's only 2 systems they approved, that overwhelmingly people are happy with and recommend. The other one, it's not, completely out of the picture, but if I would say, based on my sample, I would say something like 3/4 of the towns that have these systems now are going with the one vendor. So I think we need to start with that. And a few years ago, Carol Pfister, myself, and I guess it was Alan, we went and saw a demonstration at Secretary of State's of 3 systems that were being proposed. So we're familiar already with the 2 that are approved. Chris, I think we're very strongly leaning towards the one, but I think in fairness, we need to do our complete homework just to make sure there's some aspect we're overlooking. And the other thing that's attached to this, which might not have been in the initial conversations, is they have what they called poll pads, which are essentially an electronic version of the checklist. So it will simplify the checking in, checking out. It'll do it in real time, and it should reduce errors that sometimes happen. People like to stop and chat when they're checking out. Well, that's where we get all our mistakes. And so the electronic system should take care of that. But it'll just make it easier and faster. And of course, it's not like we have 10,000 voters here, but we also don't have 100 poll workers either. So I think all of those pieces taken together will make a big difference in terms of conducting our elections.
And correct me if I'm wrong, did the tablet and the support software and equipment, that also took care of, and I'm sorry, I can't remember what it's called, the aided,
That's a different thing.
okay, that's different.
And there's a change from the state, they're no longer gonna supply us with that equipment.
Right, that's.
So that's a little sidebar discussion, it's our responsibility to replace that. So we're gonna have to buy something. I don't know the specifications on it yet, they just, like they always like to do, they do all these things just before the election. They announce that, oh, by the way, and so I don't think that's gonna be a big deal, it's just one more piece. That's all, I don't think it's integrated, as far as I know, but again, I don't have specifications, so might be, might not. And as far as these poll pads are concerned, the one company we're strongly considering also supplies those, so we would have a single vendor that we'd have to deal with for all of these things, as opposed to, 2 or 3 different ones, so.
Can you provide the name of that preferred supplier vendor?
They're called Voting Works. And they actually use an open source software, unlike Dominion, who's the other company. It's been around for a long time, they're well established. But, this new company, has been around just for a few years, they've made some changes to how these machines work, I think make them much more user friendly. Like the Dominion systems, they still use this thing where they print out the results at the end of the night, basically on a cash register tape, which is like, what? But the new system, it prints it out on a, 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, like a report. Wow, who knew you could do that? It does other things too, it captures text for write-in votes, things of that nature, so that we can also archive all of that data going forward. It's got a lot of nice little features on it for us, yeah. So anyways, yeah, I'll give my email address. I'll start the ball rolling. And,
It's already done, right?
Obviously, you'll all be in it.
Okay, thank you very much, Jim.
Thank you.
Vicky?
Yeah, I know I haven't been here a few times, but, someone told me that the, town repeater was at Station 1.
Yes,
Is
that's
it?
correct.
Were we not putting it at the library?
JT, if you wanna go ahead and explain that?
Yeah, so we got it set up in the library and, after testing coverage, it was not nearly as good as we expected it to be. We had a official coverage study done at no cost to the town. And we actually found that putting it at Station 1 increased the coverage by like 60%. So we took the equipment and moved
Did you
it.
not do the wiring and everything and up to the cooler at the
We-
library?
We did, but we pulled all that stuff out and moved it. So we used the same equipment over, we just moved it over to the fire
Okay.
station.
Didn't pull the wire.
And it,
Not for the electrical wiring was done.
Yeah, the conduit and the wire.
so we put money into that and
That was,
basically, yeah.
that we attached that with, that was in addition to, that was work in addition to, they were already there doing it for the library project.
For the bells and for
So-
camcorders.
And all that.
There was no
It's all the
additional,
same.
there was no additional cost above what we all voted on
So
at town meeting.
what was done at the library, we,
It had to be done anyway.
okay, alright, okay. Another question, do we have anybody clean the municipal building? Is that, Brad do that too?
No.
Caitlin,
Just to confirm, you're talking about cleaning the inside, not the snow outside, correct?
Correct,
We do have someone, correct?
have we had someone all along?
We've had a few different people within, since I've been here, we've had 4 different people. We do have someone who just started recently, so they've been, they do here, and I believe they also do the library once in a while. When the library
And
needs
is
them.
it, they do the library and here?
Correct.
And what does that come out of?
That comes out of are you talking out of the
Paying
budget?
for the,
Yep, it comes out of 4194 municipal buildings, and there's a salary item that's listed for that, and that takes, that does that, and it also does the government building work, like the snow removal for shoveling,
oh, okay.
Yeah. so it does 2 things.
Okay. And Rosemary,
Yes.
you made a comment that you were disappointed not seeing the balloon that day that it was supposed to go up. Did you mean to say that?
I
Didn't
did
want to see it,
because
or-
I was disappointed. I wanted to see if it was gonna be seen. I mean, everyone was talking about it.
Alright.
Just, I didn't see it.
I didn't know if you were happy that you didn't see
Well,
it, or if you
I guess it's a good
wanted
thing that
to
I
see it.
didn't see it, because this way I didn't block off, didn't do anything with all of you, but.
Yeah.
so you knew the time period where it was supposed to be at?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I was aware of that, and we went out during that time period, and we went to different locations, and we just didn't see it, so.
Did anybody see
Just
it?
teasing you, I know,
Lawrence saw it.
Lawrence and Linda saw
I
it.
saw you watching, right, the other morning, did you see it from the?
I found the library, yes,
Yeah.
Brad, see it,
Library,
yes.
I thought I saw it from
The
Lloyd's
thing was-
that morning.
At the library, if the wind blows, you wanna see it, but it was blowing between, it wasn't above the trees, it was in the trees, you know, it was blowing in
Back and
between.
forth.
That's the only way I see it, cause it's not that big, you know, way up there.
Okay.
But yeah, I see it there,
How
and
tall
I
is it supposed to
see it in 3 other
Hundred and
places.
20 feet.
So Lawrence, if it's 120 feet, why was it still in the trees?
Well, I think it's just the way you're looking up, you know, the trees were,
The terrain,
the
yes.
trees wasn't on that property, it was on the property this side of it. And looking up like that, you're looking at those trees and boom.
Oh, from the library
From the
standpoint,
Yeah.
okay. Gotcha.
I'm looking.
Lawrence,
On that same topic, Lawrence, maybe you can answer a question. We got notified because of, regional impact, I'm assuming, about a project that's going, or that Milton got notified, or we got notified by something that was in Milton?
No,
Milton?
Milton got notified about the cell tower in Effingham.
Milton?
Yeah, there was 19 towns that had to be.
All the night, yeah.
So I'm just curious, why?
Yeah, why?
It was, I guess it's a regulation, they have to look
Okay.
at this surrounding,
Surrounding.
within the 20-mile radius, like I said, without.
Just out of curiosity, were we notified about the one in Madison?
Yes,
Yes.
yep, we were.
That's how it was explained to me, it was 20-mile radius, they had to notify anybody within, and there was like Waverton, Alton, which I think is more than 20 miles, but anyway, it was, It was 19
Milton's
cars.
more than 20 miles,
Milton's
isn't
more
it?
than 20 miles, isn't it?
That's pretty close, well, yeah.
As the crow flies.
Yeah,
I think it's a lot further than that.
Milton kinda starts, I mean, if you're
I can see
talking
Milton,
Milton Mills,
exit
it
18.
would be about
Exit
20.
18
Well,
is,
it's just south of the mobile. That's the Milton line.
right, you take Wiley Road and that's probably right there at the Four Corners, probably the closest. Milton Mills, I think.
Or
Yeah,
that
that was
turn around
further.
south of the urban.
The only reason I was asked is I know someone who works for Milton and they asked me, so that's why I'm like, why? I didn't know.
And now I know it's a regulatory thing within a distance, so thank you. I just brought it up, so I was like, well, we'll have to ask
Yeah,
the zoning
why?
board next time we see him, so.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, no, that
Thank you.
was somewhere else.
Thank you. Questions, Scott?
Yep, Scott Hillsman, this question may have been asked already, I'm just curious, with the proposed cell tower, are there any concerns about our emergency communications being in proximity to that and interference? I've read some.
Go ahead, JT.
I plan to attend the meeting and typically when a cell tower goes up, one of the first provisions that they offer to make is allowing the town to put anything we want up on that tower. So I would make the proposition that our town repeater moves up on that tower, depending on the projected coverage. If the projected coverage there is better than what we have currently, because obviously that's gonna be much higher than the fire station.
No,
No
I would say,
concerns?
I don't think so.
geographically, I don't believe it would be.
With their balloon study, they'll actually be able to show the coverage map I referenced that we did to determine Station One was a good site. They should be able to show us something similar. And if it was better coverage, then that would be our request, but, and there may still be for the countywide radio systems, there may be interest from the county to add a site there. I know portables have some trouble on Province Lake Road still for county dispatch for police and fire. So there could be interest there as well. So no, I'm not concerned with the interference, but there is potential it could benefit us.
Okay, I've read some reports where there's, cell traffic can interfere with emergency communications, so.
Yeah, with where our stuff is located currently, I wouldn't expect any interference, and even if we move to that site, I wouldn't expect it either.
Thank you.
Linda, please.
Edwards, like the talk. I was wondering if we have a number on how many children we have that go to school in Epping.
200,
How much?
That means junior high and high school and elementary.
Total.
224.
Thank you. And for the fire chief, if I could, we had talked about, you said the monument down at the fire station needed to be cleaned. Any ideas on that?
Once the snow's gone, all the gravel needs to come up and be replaced, the weeds are starting to come up through it and stuff like that. We have a plan to pressure wash and clean it up too, the stone's starting to get a little dingy, so we just wanna wash it and clean it. But, ultimately, we're just gonna be putting the new gravel in, and some of the benches have kind of tipped a little bit, they've kind of sunk into the earth, so we just wanna clean all that stuff up and beautify it a little bit.
Are you gonna leave all those spruce up? You know,
The,
are they?
like the old Chuck
Yeah,
building?
yeah.
As of right now, yeah, there's no reason to take it down. I know the library was having a conversation about maybe having some interest in taking it down and moving it to the library property for them to use for their events.
Kind of old, aren't they?
No, no. And
But that's discussion to be had in the future, and obviously the board would need to approve anything like that before it happened anyway, so. But yes, we do plan on cleaning up, sprucing up the monument area once the snow's gone.
there's no room at the library, so.
Do you have have you had the water tested at the firehouse?
We have not.
Are you going to?
Probably as part of the bathroom renovation, there'll be a lot of plumbing going on, so.
Yeah, so,
we'll probably get it tested.
you have the contact in Conway, right?
I'll get it.
You get it?
Well, that's where it goes, but we have to get a water kit, so I'll get the water kit when we talk to Todd.
Yeah,
I
That was
was
already
just
something
thinking, that might be a little bit of maybe your problem down there.
yeah, we've had a couple contractors come in and start looking to provide bids, so. That was a conversation that came up the other day when they were talking about plumbing, is whether or not we've had it tested recently. There was a test from several years ago in a folder, but it's 10, 12 years old at this point, so time for a new test.
You do realize that we have RFPs out there for renovation of the bathrooms at the fire
Yeah.
station, okay?
And water here, Do we have that tested regularly?
Yes, it just got tested.
Yes.
Okay. And could you, the well and the septic both on that side of the building?
I think the well's over
The
here.
well's over there,
What's
Septic's here.
Okay, is it a regular well or
artesian well.
Right.
artesian? Okay. Just curious, alright, thank you.
Any additional questions? Okay, and in that case, we're gonna go into non-public session, RSA 91-A:3, comma 2, numeral 2, small a.
Second,
All in favor?
Siemens, aye.
Miss Mac, aye.
But before I do it, can you state the time, please?
Seeing aye, time 5:37. need my glasses. I gotta say the RSA though, right?
No, you just make a motion to come out.
Make a motion to come out in non-public, time 6:45.
Second,
All in favor?
Siemens, aye.
Listen back on.
Racine, aye.
And then motion to adjourn. if you're ready.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Listen
Aye.
back on. Aye.